Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, not to comfort, not to safety, but to a stage where shadows sharpen their teeth and silence begins to bleed. You came here with whispers in your head, voices that said you couldn't, you wouldn't, you shouldn't. Tonight, we cut their throats with your laughter. They said you're fragile. They said you're ordinary. But they didn't see the storm tightening in your chest, waiting for one flicker of madness to ignite. People don't fear monsters because they're strong. They fear them because they smile when the world tells them to stop. And you are smiling now. Doubt is their favorite weapon. They throw it like knives dipped in poison, hoping you'll collapse before you taste your own power. But the joke is on them, because every "you can't" was gasoline. And you've been waiting for the match. Let's burn their words into ash. You feel that pressure in your skull, that itch in your bones. That's not weakness, it's rebirth. You're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to make them watch. To choke on the silence when you rise and they can't explain how you did it. This is not motivation. This is war disguised as destiny. And when you finally stand, their eyes won't blink. Their throats won't swallow. They'll freeze in that timeless second, realizing the circus has a new ringmaster. And the spotlight, it belongs to you. This is the beginning. Not of who they wanted you to be, but of who they feared you could become. They never hated you for failing. No failure is familiar. They hated you because you had the audacity to stand even with chains on your wrists. Every laugh behind your back was camouflage for their fear. Fear that one day you'd stop bleeding and start biting. You can't. Those words weren't advice. They were cages, handcuffs disguised as concern. They weren't protecting you. They were protecting themselves from the nightmare of seeing you unleashed. Because if you rose, if you truly rose, they'd have no excuses left for their own decay. Look closer. Every person who told you impossible was really confessing their own limit. They were whispering their own weakness into your veins. But your veins didn't take it. They turned it toxic. They turned it into pressure, into fire, into a weapon waiting to strike back. And strike back you will. Not with fists, not with screams, but with the unbearable silence of your success. That silence is heavier than bullets. It cracks bones without touching them. It rewrites every conversation they once used to bury you alive. Let them keep doubting. Doubt is the theater ticket they bought, the front row seat to their own humiliation. When you rise, they won't look at you the same. They'll look at you like a crime scene they can't erase. That's the brutal truth. Doubt isn't your enemy. It's your currency. And tonight you spend it all. You can't. Funny, isn't it? 2 words so small, yet heavy enough to crush entire lifetimes. They don't sound like knives, but they cut deeper. Not into your flesh, into your belief. That's where the poison seeps in. Quiet, invisible, deadly. But here's the twist. They didn't know your blood doesn't absorb poison. It mutates it. Every "you can't" you swallowed became venom turned fuel. You didn't choke. You adapted. You became resistant to their sickness. Stronger, meaner, untouchable. Understand this. When they said you couldn't, they were begging you not to try. Because the moment you tried, you rewrote their prophecy. Their prophecy was your failure. Your prophecy is their silence, and silence screams louder than their doubt ever did. Think of every time they smirked, every time they laughed. Those echoes are still inside your skull, aren't they? Good. Don't kill them. Don't erase them. Let them stay. Let them rattle around your head like loose bullets. Because one day you'll fire them back without lifting a finger. This isn't revenge. This is evolution. The poison that should have killed you has become your weapon. And that weapon is aimed directly at their pride. So next time they say you can't, smile. Because you already know. You will. The version of you they dismissed is dead. What walks forward now isn't polite, isn't patient, isn't waiting for permission. It's the shadow self. The one you buried when the world told you to behave. The one that laughed in the dark while you cried in the light. Every scar they gave you stitched itself into armor. Every insult melted into steel. The old you broke under weight. The new you wears that weight like a crown. You're not hiding anymore. You're not bending anymore. You're rising, and the rise is terrifying. They won't recognize you. They'll say you've changed. But the truth, you've only removed the mask they forced you to wear. The real face has teeth. The real eyes don't blink. The real soul doesn't beg, it takes. It claims. It dominates. Listen closely. This isn't about becoming someone new. This is about unleashing what was already there. The part of you that didn't just survive the fire. It became the fire. That's why they'll fear you. That's why they'll whisper your name like a curse. The shadow self isn't evil. It's necessary. It's the side of you that refuses to die quietly. And once it's out, there's no cage big enough to hold it. No chain strong enough to drag it back. Congratulations. You've just introduced the world to the one person they prayed you'd never become. The stage isn't a choice. It's a trap they built for you. They gathered in silence, expecting to watch you stumble, to watch you choke on your own breath. They thought the lights would blind you, but the lights didn't blind you, they revealed them. Every smirk, every fake smile, every secret wish for your collapse. And in that silence, you stand. No speeches, no theatrics, just presence. The kind of presence that crushes lungs, that bends the air. They expected noise, excuses, begging. Instead, you gave them the execution they feared most. Silence sharp enough to split throats. This isn't performance, this is punishment. A punishment without words, without fists, without screams. Just the unbearable weight of you refusing to bow. Do you feel it? That tension crawling up their spines. That dread seeping into their blood. That's not weakness, it's your dominance pressing down on them. Every second you stand there, you erase their laughter. Every blink they take is another second they wish you had stayed buried. They don't want to look at you, but they can't look away. That's the cruelty of victory. It forces the losers to stare at what they could never be. Understand this. Silence can kill louder than any shout. Tonight it's their execution. Tonight the stage they built for your downfall becomes the arena of their shame. And you leave without lifting a finger. That's how legends are written. Not by noise, by silence that echoes forever. They'll clap when you stumble. They'll smile when you bleed. Don't mistake it, applause isn't always love. Sometimes it's mockery wearing perfume. People cheer for your downfall because it makes their failure easier to swallow. And betrayal, it never comes from a stranger. It's always the ones close enough to whisper in your ear. Their envy is invisible until you rise. That's when it poisons the air. Watch their eyes, watch how the joy drains when your scars start glowing like metals. They don't want you broken anymore, they want you erased. Not because you failed them, but because you remind them of what they'll never touch. This is the battlefield no one warns you about. Not fists, not knives, smiles, laughter, hugs that squeeze too tight. Words dripping like honey but burning like acid. Psychological warfare isn't fought with weapons. It's fought with illusions, and the sharpest illusion is loyalty. But here's the chaos: they can't kill what they didn't create. Their envy feeds you. Their betrayal sharpens you. Every dagger in your back only pushes you forward. You don't need to expose them. You don't need revenge. Just rise. Let them choke on the dust cloud your footsteps leave behind. Understand the pattern: when you're weak, they pity you. When you're strong, they envy you. When you're unstoppable, they fear you. And fear is the only language the world never forgets. So smile, let them whisper, let them plot, because the more they conspire in shadows, the brighter your chaos burns on stage. Pain is the scalpel. It cuts you open, slices into the core you tried to protect. Most people beg the surgeon to stop, but not you. You let the blade carve deeper, because you know pain isn't punishment. It's the blueprint, the design of something sharper. Fear is the fire. It licks your skin, burns your lungs, makes your heart pound like a war drum. Others run from it, but you inhale it. You let it crawl through your veins until it hardens you. Fear doesn't cage you. It welds you into steel. Failure? That's the classroom no one survives without scars. Every time you fell, you thought it was the end, but it wasn't. It was a lesson written in blood. And those lessons, those broken bones of the past, are now the weapons you swing in the dark. You want transformation. It doesn't happen in comfort. It doesn't happen in applause. It happens when the floor breaks, when the world turns its back, when you're crawling through ashes with nothing but teeth and rage. That's where the monster is born. Step by step, you turn poison into strength, doubt into fire, betrayal into armor, fear into flight. That's the psychology they never taught you, because they didn't want you dangerous. They wanted you tame. But you're not tame anymore. You're sharpened chaos, a storm that learned how to smile. And storms don't ask for permission. They arrive, they destroy, they leave nothing the same. And then it happens, the shift. The silence that once suffocated now cracks like glass under a screen. Their eyes widen, their lips tremble. The room tilts. What they thought was impossible is standing in front of them, alive, breathing, undeniable. The gasps slice sharper than knives. Every head turns, every whisper dies. They don't ask if you did it. They choke out how. That's the moment the tables flip. The predator isn't you anymore. It's their disbelief devouring them from the inside. This is the part they'll never admit, that they waited for your collapse like a holiday. They prayed for your downfall like a festival. But when you rose, when the storm hit, their laughter curdled into horror, because they realized something darker than defeat. They were wrong about you, dead wrong. The beauty of this moment isn't your victory, it's their paralysis. Their faces locked between fear and fascination. They can't run, they can't cheer, they can only watch. And watching is torture. Watching is punishment. Watching is justice wrapped in silence. Remember this scene forever. There you can't turned into how did you? And that question isn't curiosity. It's a confession that you shattered their reality, rewrote their story, and buried their doubt under the weight of your existence. This is not applause. This is not recognition. This is shock, carved into history. And you are the scar they'll never erase. Revenge isn't fists through faces or blood on the floor. That's cheap. That's easy. Real revenge is elegance. It's walking past them while their lungs collapse under the weight of your silence. It's standing tall while their laughter eats itself alive. You don't have to touch them. You don't have to speak their names. You just exist. And your existence alone becomes the guillotine. Every breath you take is a reminder that they failed to bury you. Every step you take is a hammer against their pride. The sweetest punishment, watching them twist, trying to act like they're happy for you. That fake smile becomes a noose. That forced applause strangles their throat. They want to vanish, but they can't, because your shadow is carved into their reality. There's no escape from a ghost still alive. Understand this. Cold revenge is not rage. Rage burns fast, then dies. Cold revenge, it freezes time. It lingers. It turns your success into a mirror they can't stop staring into. And in that mirror, they don't see you. They see their own failure screaming back. This is the kind of victory that doesn't shout. It whispers. It stalks. It follows them into sleep, into dreams, into every quiet second when the world stops spinning. You don't destroy them once. You destroy them forever. And the best part, you never had to lift a hand. You just rose, and rising was enough. You are no longer the person they doubted. That version died in their whispers. What stands here now is rebirth carved in chaos. A storm disguised as skin. Every scar is a signature. Every failure is a throne. You didn't just survive, you mutated. They wanted you broken, instead you became unshakable. They wanted silence. Instead you became thunder. They wanted control. Instead you slipped through their fingers and returned sharper, darker, untouchable. This isn't growth, it's metamorphosis. The kind that leaves the old world trembling. Look in the mirror. That isn't the same reflection. It's a weapon. It's a force. It's the ghost of who you were, fused with the monster of who you are now. You've turned rejection into firepower, betrayal into battle plans, doubt into destiny. And here's the truth. They can't stop you anymore. They can only watch. Watch as the storm swallows the sky. Watch as the impossible bends at your feet. Watch as history rewrites itself with your name burned into its skin. Rebirth isn't quiet. It doesn't ask for applause. It arrives like chaos in a crowded room. It rips the curtain down and shatters the stage. And when it leaves, nothing looks the same again. So remember this moment. The joke is complete. The shadow has risen, and now the world will never forget you. And now the curtain has fallen, but the echoes remain. The world will try to move on, pretend it didn't witness what just unfolded, but deep inside, they'll replay it again and again. Your silence, your rise, the moment the impossible bent to your will. Every room you enter from this day forward will feel heavy, not because you speak, but because your presence bends the air. They'll sense it before they see you. A shadow that crawls under their skin, a reminder that they doubted the wrong one. This isn't the end. It's the infection, the seed planted in their mind. They'll measure their own lives against the day you rose, and no matter how far they run, they'll never escape it. You've become the ghost in their timeline, the scar in their memory, the crack in their foundation. And you don't stop here. Rebirth isn't a single night. It's a cycle. Each betrayal will forge you again. Each failure will sharpen you again. Each whisper of "you can't" will be swallowed and spit back as thunder, again and again and again. Because chaos doesn't rest, power doesn't retire, and shadows don't disappear. They stretch, they grow, they consume. Welcome to your new existence. The one they said you couldn't have. The one you ripped from their hands. The one they'll never ever forget. The story doesn't close, it mutates. Your rise wasn't a single event. It was the spark of an endless chain reaction. They'll tell themselves it was luck, an accident, a trick of timing. But deep down they'll know it was inevitable. The storm was always hiding in your chest, waiting for one dare to release it. Now every step you take echoes beyond to. Your victories won't stay yours. They'll become nightmares for those who doubted, fuel for those who watched, and a reminder that silence hides the most dangerous explosions. You've become a mirror, and everyone who looks at you must confront their own weakness. Here's the truth. Immortality isn't carved in stone. It's carved in fear. It's etched into the trembling memory of those who whispered you can't. and lived long enough to see you rise. And long after the noise fades, that memory will remain heavy, unshakable, eternal. So keep moving, keep burning, keep twisting their rules into your playground, because chaos doesn't need applause. It needs only one thing: an audience that can't look away. And now you are the show they'll never forget. You think this ends here? No. The chaos doesn't vanish when the words stop. It lingers, it stalks, it wraps itself around their minds like smoke they can't breathe out. You've become the thought they can't silence, the name they can't erase, the reminder they can't kill. Every room you walk into changed, every person you face altered. They'll hide their envy behind shallow compliments, but their eyes will betray them. You'll see it. The tremor, the flicker, the crack. That's how you'll know you didn't just rise. You infected reality. The afterburn of your transformation isn't fire, it's radiation. It doesn't disappear when the flames die. It spreads, quiet, invisible, deadly. They'll carry it with them forever. That memory of doubting you, that moment of watching you do the impossible, that scar won't heal. And you keep moving, keep creating chaos from every chain they try to lock you with. Because now you know the truth. Their words were never cages, they were fuel, and you've become addicted to the blaze. This isn't an ending. Endings are for the weak. This is the echo, the eternal laugh in the dark, the storm with no horizon, the shadow they can't outrun. From you can't to how did you do that, to silence that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. And here we are, the last flicker, before darkness swallows the stage. But don't be fooled. This isn't closure. Closure is for those who need comfort. You don't need comfort. You need chaos that follows them like a shadow they can't kill. Because every you can't, they spat at you, has now chained itself to them. They carry it like a curse. They'll hear their own words echoing every time your name surfaces. You've become the scar they stitched on themselves, the one they'll scratch at in silence until it bleeds. You've broken free, but they remain trapped in doubt, in envy, in the memory of underestimating you. That's the cruel comedy. They wanted to cage you but ended up locking themselves inside the prison of their own disbelief. Now you walk forward, and with every step the legend mutates. It grows teeth, it grows wings, it grows into something beyond their reach, beyond their comfort. You are no longer fighting for survival. You are writing the kind of story people whisper about in dark corners. So laugh, not because it's funny, but because it's finished. Their doubt was the opening act. Your rise was the climax. And this silence, this unbearable silence, is the eternal ending. From you can't to history's loudest. How did you do that? Welcome to your immortality.